Have you ever wondered what crosses the mind of a pope as he stands on the balcony of St. Peter's Square, gazing down at millions of faithful awaiting his blessing? Does he think about money? When Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost, a son of Chicago's working-class suburbs, ascended to the papacy as Leo XIV in May 2025, the world erupted with questions. Does the Pope get a salary? What privileges does he enjoy? And why, in this pragmatic age, do stories about the Vatican still captivate us? Let's start with the question that's got everyone buzzing. Does Pope Leo XIV earn a salary? If you imagine the leader of over 1 billion Catholics, the head of a tiny but powerful sovereign state, cashing a monthly paycheck like a corporate CEO, you're in for a surprise. According to Vatican News, the official voice of the Holy See, Pope Leo XIV, like his predecessor Francis, doesn't receive a fixed salary. No paycheck, no personal bank account swelling each month. Instead, the Vatican, like a devoted caretaker, covers everything, from a simple breakfast of bread and coffee to far-flung missions to impoverished lands, housing, food, healthcare, even the pristine white cassock he wears, all are provided by the Holy See. But hold on, does that mean the Pope lives a carefree life? Picture yourself as Leo XIV, a man who once trekked through Peru's rural villages, walking dusty red roads alongside poor farmers. Now, you stand before the world, your every word capable of shaping millions of lives. Would you really care about money? Or would you feel a heavier burden, a mission far beyond the numbers on a ledger? Vatican News reveals that the Pope's expenses aren't for personal gain, but to free him for his sacred duty, praying for peace, uplifting the marginalized, and shepherding God's flock. So why do rumors swirl that the Pope earns tens of thousands of dollars a month? Some tabloids, ever eager for a juicy headline, have claimed Leo XIV rakes in $33,000 a month, on par with a U.S. president or a top university president. But dig deeper, and these figures dissolve like mist in sunlight. No evidence from the Vatican or credible sources like BBC or Reuters backs this up. Instead, these stories often stem from speculation, from folks who view the Vatican through a worldly lens where money defines everything. On X, some users have floated lower figures, like $2,700 a month, but even these lack official grounding. Think about this. If you were the Pope standing in the Apostolic Palace, surrounded by Michelangelo's frescoes, would you feel rich? Or would you sense the crushing weight of responsibility, knowing every decision could sway the faith of billions? Leo XIV, a man who once lived among Peru's thatched roof huts, likely knows better than most that true wealth lies not in money, but in faith and sacrifice. But the story doesn't end here. If the Pope doesn't get a salary, how does he live? What privileges await this man, the first American to wear the papal tiara? Imagine stepping into the Vatican, where every stone whispers a 1,000-year-old tale. Leo XIV, the new pope, isn't just entering a palace, but a role scrutinized by the entire world. Are the privileges tied to the throne of St. Peter really the glittering luxuries some imagine? Or are they tools entrusted to him for a mission far greater than himself? One of the most talked-about privileges is the Pope's residence. Did you know Leo XIV has access to the Apostolic Palace, an architectural masterpiece with opulent rooms that have housed popes for centuries? Or Castel Gandolfo, a 135-acre retreat overlooking the serene Lake Albano, where popes seek solace amid turbulent times? But don't rush to call these lavish villas his own. They belong to the Holy See, preserved to serve the Church, not for personal indulgence. Pope Francis, Leo's predecessor, stunned the world by rejecting the Apostolic Palace, opting for a modest room in the Santa Marta guest house, where he dines with priests and staff. Leo XIV, with the gentle smile Vatican News describes, might follow that path, choosing simplicity over splendor. Then there's the Pope-mobile, a bulletproof Mercedes-Benz valued at $500,000, carrying the Pope through crowds at public events. Outlets like the New York Post have dubbed it a symbol of extravagance. But pause for a moment. Do you think the head of the church, facing millions and unseen threats, could walk unprotected? The Pope-mobile isn't a luxury car for show. It's a shield, a way for the Pope to reach the hearts of those awaiting him. Leo XIV, who once trudged Peru's dusty trails, surely sees this vehicle as a tool for his mission, not a personal perk. What truly captivates me, though, are the sacred symbols Leo XIV carries: the fisherman's ring and the pectoral cross. The New York Post once splashed headlines claiming the fisherman's ring is a 24K gold jewel worth $520,000. It sounds like he's living like royalty, right? But the truth, per Vatican News, tells a different story. Leo's fisherman's ring is crafted from silver, etched with a small boat on waves, evoking St. Peter, the fisherman called by Christ to tend his flock. His pectoral cross is equally humble, devoid of gemstones, a reminder of Jesus' sacrifice. These aren't ornaments for show, but emblems of a holy mission. Have you ever wondered if handed such a ring would you feel exalted or burdened? So how does Leo XIV live amid these privileges? He has a private medical team, a personal pharmacy, and handcrafted vestments from the finest tailors. But these exist to keep him healthy, safe, and ready for his role. Consider this: when you're freed from worrying about meals or illness, you can pour your heart into prayer, listening, and leading. Yet, do these privileges make Leo XIV distant from the poor he once lived among in Peru? Or are they merely instruments, enabling him to bring the light of faith to the world's darkest corners? Now picture a moment frozen in time, May 18, 2025, St. Peter's Square packed with people as Pope Leo XIV receives the fisherman's ring in his inaugural Mass. Millions of eyes watch, not just for the ceremony, but for a spark of hope in a turbulent world. Amid the lights and applause, what truly defines Leo XIV's role? Is it the privileges the world buzzes about, or a deeper mission where money and glory are mere shadows? One question that keeps people talking is whether Leo XIV, as an American citizen, must pay U.S. taxes. Sounds odd, doesn't it? A pope, the head of the Vatican, filing taxes like any citizen. U.S. law requires citizens abroad to file tax returns, and Leo XIV is no exception. But here's where it gets tricky. The Vatican is a sovereign nation with no personal income tax. Plus, since the Pope doesn't earn a fixed salary, he has little income to report. Reuters suggests he might be exempt due to his status as a head of state, or any obligations could be handled through diplomatic agreements. Do you think, amid nights praying for peace in Ukraine or Gaza, Leo XIV is fretting over tax forms? Or is this just a minor detail, blown out of proportion by drama seekers? What stops me in my tracks is how Leo XIV uses his role to carry forward Pope Francis's legacy. In his first address on May 8, 2025, he stood on St. Peter's balcony, his gentle smile shining, and spoke of peace and building bridges. He urged the Church to reach the peripheries, to those forgotten in poverty and despair. These aren't just words. Leo XIV, who lived among Peru's farmers, where dirt outweighed bread, knows his role isn't to rule from a throne, but to serve as a father, a brother. Have you ever considered, in a world torn by war and injustice, what a man with a simple silver ring could do to make a difference? Yet not everyone sees Leo XIV through the lens of faith. Some outlets, with sensational headlines, paint him as a king basking in luxury, with bulletproof cars and grand palaces. On X, AI-generated images have even shown him wearing extravagant jewels that don't exist, clouding the truth that Leo XIV chose a humble cross and a silver ring. Vatican News recounts his first appearance in simple white vestments when the crowd cheered, not for opulence, but for the radiance of his compassion. In a world obsessed with material worth, what is it that draws millions to a man who embraces simplicity. So, what lies ahead for Leo XIV? As he steps into leading over 1 billion faithful in a volatile world, will he hold fast to his humble spirit, or will the pressures of the papacy change him? More importantly, do you believe a pope's value lies in what he possesses or what he gives? Looking at Leo XIV's journey, from Peru's dusty paths to St. Peter's Square, I don't see a man chasing money or glory. I see one carrying an invisible cross, heavier than any golden ring,